So we started talking about an-nakiratu wal-ma'rifah, the indefinite and the definite. I suppose that this topic is easier than some of what we have already been talking about when we were going through the signs of i'rab. Although we made it, alhamdulillah, through there, and whoever was consistent, then may Allah reward that one and enable him to reap the benefits of his effort. Ameen. Uh, Perhaps this topic is a little easier and also very important for a beginner to understand. So, without further ado, here, we're starting the explanation here. We already read the original text, and now we're going to start reading the explanation. And so he says, that's Ibn Hisham, rahimahullah ta'ala, الشرح, the explanation. ينقسم الاسم بحسب التنكير والتعريف قسمين. The nominal or the noun, from the perspective of definiteness and indefiniteness, is divided into two categories. Nakirah, indefinite. وهي الأصل, that's the origin, the indefinite, because it's most inclusive. Whenever you want to categorize, you start with what's most inclusive, and then you narrow down and narrow down and narrow down. So, for example, if you say known, ma'lumun, ma'lumun, that's indefinite. Ma'lumun, known, a known thing, something known. Ma'lum. That's more indefinite than if you say mawjood, existent, something existent. Mawjoodun. That's more indefinite because something can be known without being existent. So it's broader. And when you say mawjood, then that's more indefinite than if you were to say, for example, I'll skip a few steps. Rajul, man. I could say bashar, human. That's more indefinite than rajul, man, because human includes men and women, etc., like that. When you come to definite words and you say al-rajul, the man, then it's specific one in particular. So nakirah is the origin. وَلِهَذَا قَدَّمْتُهَا, that's why I started with it, says Ibn Hisham. وَمَعْرِفَةً, and definite. وَهِيَ الْفَرْعُ, the definite is the offshoot, is the branch, it's the offshoot from the indefinite. وَلِهَذَا أَخَّرْتُهَا, and that's why I delayed it, mentioned it afterwards. فَأَمَّا النَّكِرَةُ, now concerning the indefinite, and you're memorizing, right? Nakirah, the words. You're building your vocabulary. You should be. You shouldn't get out of this chapter, for example, not knowing the Arabic word for indefinite or the Arabic word for definite. You shouldn't get out of this chapter not knowing the Arabic words for pronoun and proper name and things like that. Proper noun. فهي عبارة عما شاع في جنس موجود أو مقدر. That refers to, that is an expression of a name that is common between all the members of an existing type or a supposed type. It is a name that is common between all the members of an existing type or a supposed type. فالأول, the first one, an existing type, a previous existing type. كرجل is like رجل, man. فإنه موضوع لما كان حيوانا ناطقا ذكرا. Indeed, this word رجل was put forth to refer to some animate, uttering male. Hayawan, an animate thing, meaning alive. Nautiq, speaking. Animals don't speak. Not naturally, yani. And not the parrot also. According to some, the parrot doesn't speak because it doesn't know what it's saying. Parrot is like a sleeping person. It's just saying sounds. Doesn't comprehend what he's saying. He just repeats. ذكر, male. فكلما وجد من هذا الجنس واحد. So whenever one from this type is existing, فهذا الاسم صادق عليه, then this name is applicable to it. Whenever there is something of this type, then this name, rajul, man, is applicable to it. So that's called Nakirah, indefinite. وَالثَّانِي كَشَمْس. The second, which is the supposed type, is like Shams, sun, S-U-N. فإنها موضوعة لما كان كوكبا نهاريا. Indeed, this name was put forth for a daytime planet. A daytime planet. ينسخ ظهوره وجود الليل. Its appearance, a daytime planet whose appearance removes the existence of night. فحقها أن تصدق على متعدد. So this word, it should be applicable to many things. كما أن رجلا كذلك, just like the word rajul is as such, applicable to many things. وإنما تخلف ذلك من جهة عدم وجود أفراد له في الخارج. However, the Shams, sun, has departed that from the perspective of the lack of other individuals in existence. This word Shams, sun, S-U-N, it should be applicable to many things. Like the word rajul, man, is applicable to many individuals. When I say many things, I mean many individuals of the same type. This word Shams, it should be applicable to many individuals of the same type. Like the word rajul, man, is applicable to many individuals of the same type. But it's not the case that it is in reality. Yeah, we could suppose it in our minds, But in reality, beyond our minds, in reality, the reality that exists beyond our mere minds, there is not another one for us to apply this name to. That's the meaning of fil kharij. Fil kharij means, looks like saying outside. And here, fil kharij means beyond our mere mental conception. When you say it that way, yani, when it means like that, you could use that for Allah. Then it would be said, Allahu mawjudun fil kharij. That means Allah exists beyond our mere mental conception. It's not something we conceive merely that that's Allah. Or it's not that what occurs in us, whatever comprehension that's created in us, that's what's Allah. No, really outside of ourselves, meaning really existing, is Allah beyond our mere mental perception. As opposed to numbers in our minds, for example, if you say 1 or 2 or 3 or any number, as if this number exists. But you'll never find a 1 somewhere outside of your mental conception. You'll never find, a billion somewhere, a thing itself that's for which the name billion applies to that thing. Numbers are qualities. Two pens, 3 pens. So when we perceive them, it's like, our perception of those numbers, yani, as if they are real. What is that? That's our mere mental perception. It doesn't really exist beyond our mental perception. وَلَوْ وُجِدَتْ, and had there been more than one thing like this daytime planet, لَكَانَ هَذَا اللَّفْظُ صَالِحًا لَهَا, then this expression, Shams, sun, would have been applicable to it. فَإِنَّهُ لَمْ يُوضَعْ عَلَى أَنْ يَكُونَ خَاصًا, because the word Shams was not put forth for one thing in particular, although there is only one thing in particular that has that name, literally. It wasn't put forth for that. Meaning that's not what it does in Arabic language. كَزَيْدٍ وَعَمْرٍ, like Zayd and Amr. Zayd, that's a man's name. Amr, that's a man's name. That's put forth for someone in particular. You have a baby boy, and then you say, your name is Zayd. Now he's Zayd. That's not for anyone else. That Zayd, that's not even for another person named Zayd. The other person named Zayd, he has his own name. What's his name? His name is Zayd. It's not the same Zayd. That's a proper noun. That's the meaning of proper noun. So you have here Sister Zainab. She has the name of the Prophet's wife, Zainab, but it's not the same Zainab. She has her own name. And that wife of the Prophet, radiyallahu anha, she has her own name. That's called alam, proper noun. وَإِنَّمَا وُضِعَ وَضْعَ أَسْمَاءِ الْأَجْنَاسِ, merely the word Shams, although there's only one in existence, it is put forth in the language to be a name of a type of thing. وَأَمَّا الْمَعْرِفَةِ, now concerning the definite, فَإِنَّهَا تَنْقَسِمُ سِتَّةَ أَقْسَامٍ, it divides into 6 categories. So he didn't define it. So he neither defined it in the original text, nor did he define it here in the explanation. Some scholars said exact definition of ma'rifah is difficult. But I need to review about that. What's the difficulty exactly? القسم الأول الضمير. In the first category of definite words is the pronoun. Al-Damir. Damir means something veiled. That's why you could call your heart, that thing in your chest, you can call it Damir. You'd say, La tadri ma fi damiri. You don't know what's in my damir, what's in my heart. وَهُوَ أَعْرَفُ السِّتَّةِ. And the pronoun is the most definite of the 6 types of definite words. The most definite of the 6 types of definite words. The pronoun. But the scholar said the most definite of all words, absolutely, A'raful Ma'arif, is the name Allah. They said Allah is A'raful Ma'arif, most definite of definite words. Now we're talking about the categories of definite words. The most definite category is pronoun. وَلِهَذَا بَدَأْتُ بِهِ. And that's why I started with the pronoun, because it's the most definite of definite words. وَعَطَفْتُ بَقِيَّةَ الْمَعَارِفِ عَلَيْهِ. And then I conjuncted the rest of the categories of definite words to it. بِثُمَّ. Using the conjunction ثُمَّ, then. وَهُوَ. The pronoun is عِبَارَةٌ عَمَّا دَلَّ عَلَى مُتَكَلِّمٍ. It's an expression that refers to a speaker. كَأَنَا, like أَنَا, I. أو مُخَاطَب, or an addressee, someone spoken to. كَأَنْتَ, like you. أو غائب, or someone outside of the conversation, absent from the conversation. كَهُوَ, كَهُوَ. I was going to say kahu. Kahu. So if I stop on a sukoon. That's the rule in Arabic. If I stop there, which that's the end of the sentence, I stop on a sukoon. Kahu. Then I won't say the fatha on the waw. If I say kahua, then really that's wrong grammar. Or I can bring ha'u sakit, a ha, to preserve the last haraka. Kahua. Then I can keep the fatha. Or a pronoun refers to a ghaib, someone absent. So ghaib means absent, but it doesn't mean here he's not present. He might be present, might be right there. You know, you talk about someone who says, I'm right here. So it doesn't mean he's necessarily absent, this ghaib. What we mean here is he's outside of the conversation. He's the one being spoken about. So that's the definition of damir in Arabic. A word that refers to a speaker, an addressee, or someone absent from the conversation. So you can understand from the definition of damir that it refers to speaking. It goes back to speaking. Who's the speaker, or goes back to conversing? Who's the speaker and who's being spoken to and who's being spoken about? Then it divides from there because you have gender, male, female. You have number, singular, dual, plural. You have also doer or receiver. So Arabic has pronouns for covering all of this. In English, they said the pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. That's a poor definition because, and a positive also replaces a noun, but it's not a pronoun. Like if you said, I saw Sam, your brother. So your brother, that's the appositive. It's not a pronoun though. Yes, also what we called here in Arabic, mutakallim, speaker, mukhatab, addressee, ghaib, someone out of the discussion, outside of the discussion, someone spoken about. That's easier to understand than to say first person, second person, third person. That's English terminology. First person, second person, third person. So if you don't know grammar, you don't even know what that means. Whereas, even if you don't know grammar, if someone were speaking in Arabic and he was talking about what we would call first person, second person, third person, he would just be using normal words. So he'd say, the speaker, and then everyone understands, even the people who don't know grammar. The mukhatab, the one being spoken to, ghaib, the one who's not in the conversation. I say that's because the Muslim scholars were smarter. And that's also a result of not borrowing terminology from another language. Western education, Western academics, they are fond of taking words from another language like Latin and using Latin words as their terminologies for their sciences, medicine and grammar and other things. That makes it more difficult to learn and to understand. And that blocks the layman from comprehension. وَيَنْقَسِمُ إِلَى مُسْتَتِرٍ وَبَارِزٍ. Hopefully you studied last week's lesson so that this is easier to digest. Now the pronoun is divided into two categories because either it's veiled pronoun or an appearing pronoun, invisible or appearing. لأنه لا يخلو إما أن يكون له صورة في اللفظ أو لا, because there are only two options. Either this pronoun appears in the pronunciation or not. فالأول البارز. So the first one, the one that appears, that's called ضمير بارز, appearing pronoun. كتاء كنت, like the ta in كنت, that's for the speaker. كنت, I stood. So it appeared, I pronounced it. والثاني المستتر. And the second type is the veiled pronoun, this invisible one that doesn't have any appearance. كالمقدر في نحو قولك قم, like the intended pronoun in the likes of saying this one, stand. That's a command. قم. Because the pronoun is anta, you, without saying it. ثم لكل من البارز والمستتر انقسام باعتبار. Furthermore, both the appearing pronoun and the invisible one have divisions, categorization by some consideration. By some regard, you will divide those further. فَأَمَّا الْمُسْتَتِرُ. So concerning the veiled pronoun, the invisible one, the inaudible one, the one that's not pronounced and it's only intended. فَيَنْقَسِمُ بِاعْتِبَارِ وُجُوبِ الِاسْتِتَارِ وَجَوَازِهِ إِلَى قِسْمَيْنِ. This one divides into two categories, because either you must veil this pronoun or else it's wrong language. You're making a mistake. Or you're allowed to veil it and you don't have to. Wujubul istitar, necessarily veiled pronoun, and jawazul istitar, permissibly veiled pronoun. Wajibul istitar wa jaizuh. Wa na'ni biwajibil istitar. And what we mean by the necessity of veiling this pronoun, making this pronoun disappear, not appear, but disappear, be invisible or inaudible. ما لا يمكن قيام الظاهر مقامه. That is the pronoun that a non-pronoun cannot fill its space. That is the pronoun, the type of pronoun that a non-pronoun cannot fill its space. That's the meaning of zahir here. Zahir. Zahir, that's important. You need to keep note of that. That's going to be consistent. The zahir. Zahir here means, so you know the word zahir means apparent. Here, zahir means what's not a pronoun. For example, Allah says, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ Allahu Samad. Say, He is Allah. Al-Ahad. Allah. As-Samad. So the name Allah got repeated twice here. They say, for the second ayah, that the Zahir came where the Damir would be expected. The Zahir means not a pronoun, because you already said his name. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say He is Allah. So now, had it been outside of Quran, you could just say, Huwa Samad. He is As-Samad. So you bring the pronoun. But Allah didn't reveal it that way. He revealed it with the name of Allah mentioned again. Allahu Samad. So here, the Zahir, which is non-pronoun, in this case is the name of God Himself, the Zahir appeared where the pronoun would be expected. So, we mean by wajibul istitar, when it's obligatory, necessary to hide the pronoun. Obligatory means in language here, not halal and haram. We're not saying you're going to be sinful. This is a different field, like we said before. This is language, has its own terms, like wajib. Fiqh rules has its own terms, like wajib. Tajweed also has its own words, like wajib. Doesn't mean the same thing in each field. وَنَعْنِي بِوَاجِبِ الْإِسْتِتَارِ. What we mean by it being necessarily veiled. مَا لَا يُمْكِنُ قِيَامُ الظَّاهِرِ مَقَامَهُ. It's what a non-pronoun could not possibly take its place. وَذَلِكَ كَالضَّمِيرِ الْمَرْفُوعِ بِالْفِعْلِ الْمُضَارِعِ الْمَبْدُوءِ بِالْهَمْزَةِ. That's like the pronoun for the doer that's in the mudari verb that starts with hamza. Ka'akumu. Akumu. So the meaning is ana, I stand. So you can't put a non-pronoun there. You can't say akumu zaid. It doesn't even make any sense. You can't say akumu zaidun and put zaid there. So the real meaning is akumu ana without having to say ana. If you don't say ana, it still means ana. If you do say ana, all you did was emphasize the ana that's already there that you're not saying. It's not the same ana, I. And you cannot put a non-pronoun in the spot of that pronoun. So you can't say akumu zaydun or anything else there. It doesn't make sense. Therefore, the pronoun here is mustatirun wujuba. It is veiled necessarily. أو بالنون كنقوم أو بالتاء كتقوم. So, or if the mudari verb starts with a noon, you say naqumu, nahnu, we stand. You don't have to say nahnu though. Naqumu, we stand. And taqumu, anta, you stand. ألا ترى أنك لا تقول. Don't you see that you don't say أقوم زيد ولا تقول نقوم عمرو, which is what I already said to you. Don't you see that you don't say أقوم زيد? You can't even translate it. It doesn't make any sense. Or نقوم عمرو. نقوم means we stand. It already has its own pronoun. عمرو is what's it's doing there. So you can't do it. It doesn't work. Therefore, that's how you test if that's a veiled pronoun, necessarily veiled. وَنَعْنِي بِالْمُسْتَتِرِ جَوَازًا. And what we mean by being permissibly veiled, مَا يُمْكِنُ قِيَامُ الظَّاهِرِ مَقَامًا. What is possible to put a non-pronoun in its place? What is possible? What is possibly replaced by a non-pronoun? وَذَلِكَ كَالضَّمِيرِ الْمَرْفُوعِ بِفِعْلِ الْغَائِبِ. That's like the pronoun for the doer when the action is done by someone being spoken about. Not spoken to, anta. Not the speaker, ana. naHw. Like Zaydun yakumu. Zayd yakumu. Zayd stands. So as it is here, Zayd yakumu. The pronoun that goes with yakumu is huwa. And huwa is Zayd himself. Zayd stands. Zaydun yakumu huwa. ألا ترى أنه يجوز لك أن تقول. But don't you see, if you know some Arabic, that it's permissible for you to say Zaydun yakumu ghulamuhu. Zayd, his youngin stands. So here, ghulamuhu is in the spot where the pronoun would be huwa. Zaydun yakumu ghulamuhu. We were able to put a non-pronoun in the spot where the pronoun would be. Now there's no pronoun filling yakumu or doing yakumu. Yakumu is the act of the ghulam here, the youngin, the youngling. So since you're able to put something there that's not a pronoun, then it's not a necessarily veiled pronoun. So simply, if you say, Qala, he said, if you stop there, then it automatically means huwa without saying it. But you can put something else there. You can say, Qala rajul. Now it's for the man. Or Qala Zayd. Now Zayd is the one who said. Or Qala al-malak, or the angel said. Or Qala Allahu, or God said. So this space for the pronoun is not reserved. But when you say akumu, then it only means ana, I. There's nothing you can put there to fill that space. If you want very easy approximation, not a rule, just an approximation to help you remember. Whenever the pronoun is he or she, then you can replace it with something else. So qala means huwa, he. He said. Qalat means he, she said. You can take those out, those pronouns. Say qala Zayd, qalat Hind, he and she. Those are the ones that you can put something in their place. The other ones, though, akumu, I stand, without saying I. There's nothing else you can put there anyway. Nakumu, we stand. Takumu, you stand. وأما البارز فإنه ينقسم بحسب الاتصال والانفصال. Now, concerning the appearing pronouns, or the appearing pronoun, it has its own division because either it's going to connect or disconnect. It's either going to be suffixed or it's going to be independent. It suffixes to the back of the word or it's independent altogether and stands alone. Al-ittisal, connectivity, which is suffixing here. Or al-infisal, disconnection, which is to be standing independently. So all the pronouns in English are basically what? Munfasila. They stand alone independently. They're not suffixed. إلى قسمين متصل ومنفصل فالمتصل هو الذي لا يستقل بنفسه. The suffixed pronoun, muttasil, connected pronoun, is the one that does not stand independently. Kata'i kumtu, like the ta in kumtu. So you can't break that ta off and just say tu. If someone were to say, who stood? Man qam, you don't say tu. I did. It doesn't stand by itself. You could say ana. وَالْمُنْفَصِلُ هُوَ الَّذِي يَسْتَقِلُّ بِنَفْسِهِ. And the disconnected pronoun is the one that can stand independently. كَأَنَا وَأَنْتَ كَأَنَا وَأَنْتَ وَهُوَ. Like these three. Ana, I, anta, you, and huwa, he. وَيَنْقَسِمُ المتصل بحسب مواقعه في الإعراب. And furthermore, these connected pronouns. They also divide in accordance with their i'rab. Yani what space they fill as far as i'rab is concerned. Meaning, what role are they playing in the sentence? Is this pronoun the doer of the act or the receiver of the act? Or is it the object of a preposition? إلى ثلاثة أقسام. It divides into these three categories. مرفوع المحل. I'm just saying this in simple words, not absolute words here. The doer's spot, the nominative or subjective spot, that's more open. The subjective or nominative spot, you just have to remember the English terms or the grammar terms. You have to remember the grammar terms here. The nominative spot or subjective spot, marfu'ul mahal, wa mansubuhu, and the accusative spot, that's the spot for the receiver of the verb. Wa makhfuduhu, and the genitive spot, that's the spot for object of preposition, or the second part of a genitive construction. Kata'i kumtu, like the ta and kumtu, فَإِنَّهُ فَاعِلٌ, that's the doer. قُمْتُ, I stood. وَمَنْصُوبُهُ, فَمَرْفُوعُهُ كَتَاءِ قُمْتُ. The one in the subjective spot is like the ta and قُمْتُ. فَإِنَّهُ فَاعِلٌ, it is the doer, I stood. وَمَنْصُوبُهُ كَكَافِ أَكْرَمَكَ, and the pronoun in the accusative spot is like the kaf of akramak, akramaka. فَإِنَّهُ مَفْعُولٌ, he treated you. So it is a direct object, receiver of the verb. Akramaka, he treated you. وَمَخْفُوضُهُ كَهَاءِ غُلَامِهِ, or it's in the genitive spot, like the ha in غُلَامِهِ, the youngster of his. Trying to keep the pronoun at the back. In English, you can flip that to the front, though. You can say his youngster. If I put it to the back, I'll have to bring the word of. The youngster of his. فَإِنَّهُ مُضَافٌ إِلَيْهِ, in this case, it is the second part of the genitive construction. وَيَنْقَسِمُ الْمُنْفَصِلُ بِحَسَبِ مَوَاقِعِهِ فِي الْإِعْرَابِ, and also the disconnected pronouns, they are divided according to their syntactical case. إلى مرفوع الموضع ومنصوبه, either being in the subjective spot or the accusative spot. فالمرفوع 12 كلمة. The subjective pronouns are 12 words. أنا, I. نحن, we. أنت, you. أنتِ, you. But male and female, singular. أنتما, you. But dual, it's for two. أنتم, you. But plural, masculine. أنتن, you. Plural, feminine. So right there, look how the Arabic surpassed the English. That difference is important there. Although, usually you're going to understand what's being said to you in English. But there are sentences that, because of how static the word you is, that are potentially confusing. And you'd have to ask the person, who do you mean when you say you? Whereas in Arabic, it's going to be pinpointing masculine or feminine and one or two or three or more, and then it's much clearer. Huwa, he, hiya, she, huma, they, but that's for two. Hum, they, that's for three or more, masculine. Hunna, they, that's for three or more, feminine. So same thing there. You'd say in English, who's they? Who are you talking about? Whereas the Arabic is going to pinpoint more for you. Masculine, feminine, two or three or more. وَمَنْصُوبُهُ اثْنَتَا عَشْرَةَ كَلِمَةً أَيْضًا. And the accusative pronouns are also 12 words. Iyaya, me. So you know the difference between I and me. That's receiver. Me, he hit me. I hit him, that's doer. I hit him, so he hit me. That's receiver. Iyana, us. So that's the difference between we and us. We hit them, so they hit us. Iyaka, you. Iyaki, you. Masculine and feminine, singular. Iyakuma, you. Two, dual. These are all receivers. Iyakum, you. Masculine, plural. Iyakunna, you. So that makes then the English even more potentially confusing. Because now you have, for the pronoun you, no distinction between doer or receiver or masculine or feminine or number. Iyahu, him, not he. He hit me, so I hit him. Iyaha, her, not she. Iyahuma, they, or them, sorry, them. They hit us, so we hit them. But that's dual. Iyahum, them, plural masculine. Iyahunna, them, plural feminine. Plural means three or more. فهذه الاثنتا عشرة كلمة لا تقع إلا في محل النصب. These 12 words only fall in the accusative space. كما أن تلك الأولى لا تقع إلا في محل الرفع. Just like those first 12 only fall in the subjective case. Taqul, you say, Ana mu'min, I am a believer. Not me. Fa'ana mubtada. So, ana, I, is mubtada. That's the subject of your sentence. Wal mubtada'u hukmuhu rafa. And the subject of your sentence, its case is that it's in the subjective case. Wa iyaka akramtu. And you, I treated. Another example, Iyaka akramtu, you I treated. فَإِيَّاكَ مَفْعُولٌ مُقَدَّمٌ. So this pronoun, Iyaka, you, is a direct object that is advanced ahead of the verb that's falling upon it. So in English, we'd say more easily in English, I treated you. وَالْمَفْعُولُ حُكْمُهُ النَّصْبُ. And the direct object, its case is the accusative case. وَلَا يَجُوزُ أَنْ يُعْكَسَ ذَلِكَ. And it's not permissible to reverse that. فَلَا تَقُولُ إِيَّايَ مُؤْمِنٌ. So you don't say, me is a believer. وَأَنْتَ أَكْرَمْتُ. And you don't say, أَنْتَ أَكْرَمْتُ, but in English there's only one pronoun for you. So it's still going to work in English. You I treated. But you can't say it in Arabic. أَنْتَ أَكْرَمْتُ. وَعَلَى ذَلِكَ فَقِسِ الْبَاقِي. And according to that, you can conclude the rest. وليس في الضمائر المنفصلة ما هو مخفوض الموضع بخلاف المتصلة. And these disconnected pronouns don't have any genitive one. There's no such thing as a genitive disconnected pronoun. Doesn't exist. As opposed to the connected ones, there are genitive connected ones. Like you say, alayhi, on him, ilayhi, to him. Those pronouns are genitive, in the genitive spot, because there's preposition in front of them, prepositional particle. But you can't start with, you can't have any disconnected genitive pronoun. It doesn't exist. Let's stop there. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Any question? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. رب اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات. So can you repeat that last part again about the genitive pronoun? Yes. So the genitive pronoun, it only comes in the form of a connected pronoun from the back, suffixed. Like ilayhi, you take all the huruf jar. Min, you say minhu, minni, minka. Min wa ila wa an wa ala wa fi fika. Barakallahu fika. Barakallahu bika. For example. But there's no disconnected form. There's no genitive form of a disconnected pronoun. Disconnected pronouns are only subjective and accusative, marfu' and mansub. Connected are marfu', mansub, and majroor. Ameen wa fiki. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. رب اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات